המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. בואכם לשלום מלאכי השלום מלאכי עליון ממלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. ברכוני לשלום מלאכי השלום מלאכי עליון ממלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. צאתכם לשלום מלאכי השלום מלאכי עליון ממלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא.
So Cantor, we had a great session with our Jesuit high school students, and they asked great questions, including sort of like where these sacraments and sort of wondering how things develop. And when the temple stood, there were all of these beautiful psalms that were sung as part of the services. And when the temple disappeared and we stopped bringing lambs and grain offerings and first harvest and all of those sorts of things, we preserve the psalms. And the Kabbalat Shabbat service really is a beautiful example of that, because the whole first part of the service is really, with the exception of the Chadodi, is a selection of psalms from the book of Psalms. So with that, we'll continue on page 11 with Nechu Neranana, one of those psalms. For those who don't read Hebrew, we're on page 11, and these psalms are transliterated into English letters in the cardinal or red letters at the bottom of the page on the left side of the page, so no excuse not to join in and sing along. Yeah, we go right, well, not in the English letters.
No, but the pages.
Yes, the pages go right to left, yes.
לכו נרננה, לכו נרננה, לכו נרננה לאדוני. לכו נרננה, לכו נרננה, לכו נרננה לאדוני. נריה, נריה לצור אישנו, לקדמה פניו ותודה. נריה, נריה לצור אישנו, בזמירות נריה לו. לכו נרננה, לכו נרננה, לכו נרננה לאדוני. לכו נרננה, לכו נרננה, לכו נרננה לאדוני. לכו, 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 לכו נרננה. לכו, 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 לכו נרננה. כי אל גדול אדוני, ומלך גדול על כל אלוהים, אשר בידו מחקרי ארץ ותועפות ההרים לו. לכו, 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 לכו נרננה, או לכו, לכו, לכו נרננה. אשר לא היה והוא עשהו, ויבשת ידיו יצרו. בואו נשתחווה ונכרע, נברכה לפני אדוני עושנו. לכו, 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 לכו נרננה. לכו, 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 לכו נרננה. כי הוא אלוהינו, ואנחנו אמר איתו, וצור ידו. היומים בקולו תשמעו. לכו, 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 לכו נרננה. לכו, 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 לכו נרננה. אל תקשו לבבכם כי מריבה, כיום מסע במדבר, אשר ניסוני אבותיכם, בחנוני גם ראו פועלי. לכו, 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 לכו נרננה. או לכו, 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 לכו נרננה. 40 שנה כל בדור, ואמרם תועל לבבהם, והם לא ידעו דרכי, אשר נשבעתי באפי, אם יבוא למלוכתי.
Beautiful cantor. We will now turn, page 21, Mizmor LeDavid, a psalm or song in honor of King David that acclaims God's presence, God's sound, and the way that we often perceive that which is sort of feels divine and special in nature, the majesty and the power of nature. 21.
Adonai Benehelim Hamul Adonai Kavod Vaoz Hamul Adonai Kevod Shemo Ishtachavul Adonai Behadrat Kodesh Kol Adonai Alamayim El HaKavod Yirim Adonai Almayim Mayim Rabim Kol Adonai Vakoach Kol Adonai Be'adar Kol Adonai Shover Arazim Veshaber Adonai Et Arzei Halvanon Vayarkidem Kemo Egel Lebanon Vesirion Kemo Veneremi Kol Adonai Chotzem Lavot Esh Kol Adonai Yachil Midbar Yachil Adonai Midbar Kadesh Kol Adonai Yechol Layalot Vayechesov Ye'arot Uvechalo Ulo Omer Kavod Adonai Lama Bunya Shava Yeshem Adonai Melech Le'olam Adonai Oz Le'amo Iten Adonai Yevarech Et Amo V'Shalom Ay, 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 And for those who came in late, just kidding.
We're going to step out of the book of Psalms now as we turn to page 23 to Lecha Dodi, medieval composition by Shlomo Alkabetz, end of the 16th century. And it's appropriate that we step out because Shlomo Alkabetz is part of the school of Sfat, formed largely but not entirely of Jews who left Spain during the Inquisition of 1492. Some Jews were already there, always had been. And he composes his melody using biblical verses and snippets and assembles it. But why it is appropriate to interrupt the book of Psalms is it's really the Kabbalists who gave us Kabbalat Shabbat as we know it, right? The original Mariv service begins a little bit later, and this was tacked on to give people who were running home from work or whatever some extra time and to add a little bit of extra beauty. So we'll do the first 2 stanzas of it on page 23, and then the final 2 stanzas on 25. The last stanza, I'll signal to us all to rise and face towards the door to symbolically welcome in the Shabbat bride.
Lecha dodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Shamora וזכור בדיבור אחד, השמיענו אל המיוחד, אדוני אחד ושמו אחד, לשם ותפארת ולתהילה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, בני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, בני שבת נקבלה. לקראת שבת לכו ונלכה, כי מקור הברכה, מראש מקדם נסוכה, סוף מעשה במחשבה תחילה. לך דודי לך דודי לקראת כלה, בני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, בני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, בני שבת נקבלה. ימין ושמאל תפרוצי, ואת אדוני תריצי. על יד איש בן פרצי, ונשמחה ונגילה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, בני שבת נקבלה. Please rise. בואי ושלום עטרת בעלה, גם בשמחה ובצולה. תוך אמוני עם סגולה, בואי חלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, בני שבת נקבלה. שבת שלום, שבת שלום, שבת שלום ומבורך.
And I just want to pause here as we offer our prayers and hope and support to the Sachs family, to Harriet, and the whole family on the loss of Chuck, as we offer the traditional words of condolence. Hamakom Yenechem Etchem Betok Sha'ar Avlei Tzion Perushalayim. May God comfort you along with all those who mourn Zion, Jerusalem, and every corner of the world. And with that, we are going to continue on page 27, right? Okay.
מזמור שיר ליום השבת, טוב להודות לאדוני ולזמר לשמך עליון. טוב להודות לאדוני, להגיד בבוקר חסדך ואמונתך, להודות לאדוני עלי עשור ולנבל עלי היגיון בכינור כי שימחתני אדוני לפעולך במעשה ידיך רנן טוב להודות לאדוני ולזמר לשמך עליון טוב להודות לאדוני טוב להודות לאדוני תפרוח רשעים כמו זה אדוני שינה בך תשמע לאוזני צדיק אתה אמר יפרח כארז בלבנון יזכה שתולים בבית אדוני בחצרות אלוהינו יפריחו עוד ינובון בסבע דשנים ורלנים להגיד ישר אדוני צורי ולא הבלטה אדוני מלאך ולבש עדותיך נמנו מאוד לביתך לעבד קודש אדוני לאורך ימים.
Thank you, Cantor. I imagine that we've all heard the phrase and probably even know somebody who we would say, that's a person who's living in a bubble. And what we mean by that normally is they're kind of disconnected from the way most people live. Maybe they've got a little more security or comfort, or they don't know the price of a gallon of milk. Some people live in bubbles. I'd like to suggest a different metaphor tonight for those of us who live in the Willamette Valley, and I would like to suggest that all of us here live in a bathtub. Our region is practically overflowing with water, averaging about 40 inches of rain a year, and if you touch parts of the coastal mountain range, that goes up to even 200 inches a year. But once you hit east of the Cascades, right, it's like somebody pulled the plug and all the water drained out of that bathtub. 4 inches, 6 inches, 8 inches through much of the state. And Southern Oregon doesn't do much better, maybe 18 inches when the skies open up over Medford. And I think sometimes when we're complaining about the rain, talking about myself here, never you, it's easy to forget that we're in a bubble of this abundant rainfall and how absent water is for so many people, even in our own state. And this has really been on my mind a lot recently because as Laura and I prepare to move to Southern Oregon, there's less water there, right? And water is life. We've been exploring off-grid properties. We want to live close to nature. We just want to have our electricity from the sun and reduce our footprint. But that means, right, that I've gotten a crash course in water management. I've learned about flow tests, drilled versus artesian wells, purity seals. Wells are complex. yet vital. And I'm looking at you, Carolyn, as at least the one realtor I know in here. I don't know how many off-grid properties you've sold, but I'm sure some, right? But wells, they're not just something, they're not just Laura and my issue right now. They're not a modern issue. And in this week's Torah portion of Vayetze, right, Jacob embarks on a transformative journey and encounters a well. And in the Torah, wells are more than just sources of water, though we probably should never put the word just in front of water unless we live in a bathtub, right? Wells in the ancient world were places of connection, revelation, transformation. They represent sustenance and survival, but they also carry a lot of deeper meanings. In Judaism, one of the most beautiful metaphors for the Torah is water, right? The Torah is Ma'im Chaim, living water. It's a source of wisdom, life, spiritual renewal in the way that water renews everything. So this week, as we reflect on Jacob's encounter, ancient well culture, and Oregon's contemporary water challenges, why don't we explore a little bit the physical and spiritual significance of the wells in our lives. So again, just to go back to water as Torah and that spiritual source, the ancient rabbis coined this metaphor. They were living in a desert region, and water was more valuable than gold, and is more valuable than gold, right? Without water, there is no life. So it was life-sustaining. It was accessible to all. The Talmud says that just as water flows to low places, so too does Torah flow to the humble, right? That the Torah, like water, seeks its own level, but it's there for everyone. It's democratic in that way. And it's also dynamic and ever-renewing, just as the water cycle, turns to vapor and comes back down as rain. Torah continually recycles and renews and sustains us. So Jacob's well encounter, I want to argue, it's not just about physical sustenance. It foreshadows the spiritual well-being of Torah that's going to sustain Jacob's descendants, which includes us to this day. And Torah, like water, is something that we need to protect and take responsibility for, and to recognize that it is a gift, a tremendous gift. So I want to go back in time to the Bronze Age, right? That's when so many of these stories in the Torah sort of are touching upon, because wells were the heart of survival and community life. And the scholars have sort of really invested time learning about it, clearly essential for survival. Water for drinking, agriculture, livestock. You didn't have a settlement of human beings unless there was water nearby. Not like Los Angeles, which could import water from hundreds of miles away and didn't need water of its own. Probably not a good idea, but in the ancient world that wasn't really an option, at least until Roman aqueducts. So where there was water, human life, relationships, community, civilization could all sort of flourish. And so therefore, wells also became these social hubs. Long before there were online gathering places, wells were where you passed news, forged new relationships, resolved disputes. We'll see that with Abraham and Abimelech, we saw that. So they're just like everything happens in the place where there's water. And so almost the opposite of what Laura and I are looking for. Today, having a well means that you are living a life of seclusion to some degree, right? You're living a more rural life with fewer people around it, but that's not what it was for our people. But I want to combine those and look at Oregon today, because in our bathtub of the Willamette Valley, it's so easy to forget how scarce water in the West is and how necessary it is for so much of the state. It's a state of droughts, continuous droughts, over-extraction of our groundwater, vulnerable communities, the conflicts between farmers, cities, tribes, environmentalists. How do we balance all of those needs? About 2 months ago, the Karuk tribe celebrated the removal of the Klamath Dam, which has restored salmon to their habitat, has cleaned up, lowered water temperature, improved water quality, and given them access to their more ancient way of life. And that sort of legal battle is just this fantastic question for us, right? How do we share our resources? Do we hoard them? Do we reserve them for those with the most, or do we recognize that just like Torah, water is a significant for all of us? So much is in there. So I think that when we look at water in this way, we see it as this form of renewal, of shared resource, and because of that, also something that demands our stewardship. It's very easy to let the water run and have a really long shower because we have so much water here, but it's a reminder in this larger world that maybe we have to be thinking about preserving it for those outside of our water-rich area. So this state continues and needs to continue to confront its water challenges. We need to protect and advocate so there's a balance between human needs, urban needs, agricultural needs, and of course, environmental needs. We need to partner with those who were here first, indigenous communities, who are longtime stewards of the land as well. And I think that we can draw from the well of Torah to do that, right? The Torah provides us with a guide for justice, compassion, sustainability. It teaches us about humility, that Torah that flows down to the most humble, and about our interconnectedness one to the other. If we recognize that Torah is available for all, maybe it can remind us about that for water. So returning to the well, in this week's portion, right, Jacob finds Rachel at the well, and that sets in motion a story that is why the Jewish people are still here today, a story of covenant and redemption. But the well is not just a location, it's a metaphor for sustaining power of our Torah and that sacred responsibility to protect what gives life for all. Our state, Oregon's water challenges remind us of the fragility of that balance, and we're being tested. Will we share the well or hoard it? Will we protect its waters or allow them to run dry? We have inland lakes that have just completely turned into salt marshes in this state. The answer lies in our hands, and moreover, it's a spiritual comparison to Torah, I think, that can help find the answer for us. Because without Torah, without religious guidance or an ethical path, I think most of us end up in a place of scarcity, thinking about what we don't have, rather than expressing gratitude for what we do have. And when we're always thinking about what we don't have, we're less likely and willing to share or recognize that there is enough to go around for all. Spirituality, environmentalism, care for those who are more vulnerable, they're one and the same, different facets as the light shines through that prism. So I hope that we'll all be inspired in our own ways to act, to share, renew, ensuring that the waters of life and the waters of Torah continue to flow for all. Shabbat Shalom. We'll rise, page 39A, for the call to worship, the Baruch Hu.
ברכו את אדוני מבורך.
ברוך אדוני מבורך לעולם ועד.
ברוך אדוני מבורך לעולם ועד.
Please be seated.
ומעביר יום מביא לילה, ומבדיל בין יום ובין לילה, אדוני צבאות שמו, אל חי וקיים תמיד ימלוך עלינו, לעולם ועד. ברוך אתה אדוני, המריב הערבים.
Ahavat Olam, eternal love. You know, I remember years and years ago, a rabbi at a yeshiva in Israel who I studied with, and said, you know, the things we need most are the least expensive. What we need most to sustain life is air, and it's everywhere. Sometimes humans pollute it, but it's everywhere and it's free. And without it for even a few minutes, we would perish. And the next thing we need is water, right? And it is cheap and abundant relatively. Ahavat Olam, God's eternal love, the blessings of life are everywhere, and all we need to do is stop, take note of them, and feel gracious and gratitude for it. And this prayer highlights that. Page 40.
אהבת עולם בית ישראל First, a word about this melody. Some of you I've said it already, but I'll share since there are some new people here. I grew up in a synagogue called the Spanish and Portuguese Synagogue in Montreal, and which you all know. And it's Sephardic, but it was also very Ashkenazi. It's a mixed congregation. You had lots of Ashkenazim there, Moroccans, Iraqis, and whatever. But for the earlier part of the 20th century, all Ashkenazim. So there was a lot of mixing of nusach, of traditional Ashkenazi music in there. And this central melody, the chorus of this song, Torah, Torah, Torah u'mitzvot, was the choir and congregation's response, just one little line that the choir would respond and the congregation to what the cantor was chanting. And I turned it into a full song. So if you know it, if you sang it with me before, join me. If you haven't, you'll pick up on it. Ahavat olam bet Yisrael amecha avka. Ahavat olam bet Yisrael amecha avka. Torah, Torah, Torah u'mitzvot, chukim, chukim, mishpatim, otanu limadta. Torah, Torah, Torah u'mitzvot, chukim, chukim, mishpatim, otanu limadta. Al ken Adonai Eloheinu b'shorveinu kumeinu nasiach bechukecha, nasiach bechukecha. Torah, Torah, Torah u'mitzvot, chukim, chukim, u'mishpatim, otanu limadta. V'nismach b'divrei toratecha u'v'mitzvotecha le'olam va'ed, le'olam va'ed. Ki em chayenu ve'orech yameinu v'hem negei yomam v'layla. Ve'avatecha al tasir mimenu le'olamim. Torah, Torah, Torah u'mitzvot, chukim, chukim, mishpatim, otanu limadta. Baruch atah Adonai ohev amo Yisrael. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai echad. ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך. היו הדברים האלה. והיה אם שמעו את ישמעו, אז ישר אנוכי מצוותך יום לעבר. שמתם דברי אלה על לבבכם, אשריכם ושמעתם אותם, ואורות אני אתכם למען יבורים ויבוא שמים אותה בן ישראל, מטה עליהם עשו ציצית. היה לכם ציצית. אותה תורו חיפה, תזכרו בסתם. Adonai Elohechem emet.
Speaking of water, page 44, Micha Mocha, after Bnei Yisrael, the children of Israel crossed the Yam Suf, the Sea of Reeds, this is what the women sang. We'll start at the top of 44.
ומלכותו ברצון קיבלו עליהם משה ומרים בני ישראל לחנו שירה בשמחה רבה ואמרו כולם מי כמוך באלים אדוני מי כמוך נדר בקודש נורא תהילות אוסף אל מלכותך ראו בניך בוקע ים לפני משה, סליאנו ואמרו, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד ונאמר, יפדה אדוני את יעקב וגאלו מיד חזק ממנו, ברוך אתה אדוני, כאן
It's nothing like finally at the end of a long day getting to put your head on the pillow and hoping that sleep will come, that it will be easy and uneventful. Hashkivenu, this prayer that asks that God watch over us as we sleep and be there to protect us as we rise up to another day. 45 at the top.
השכיבנו אדוני אלוהינו לשלום, לשלום, והעמידנו מלכנו לחיים, לחיים, ופרוס עלינו סוכת שלומך, 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 ותקננו בעצה טובה מלפניך, מלפניך, והושיענו למען שמך, והגן בעדנו, והסר מעלינו אויב דבר וחרב, ורב ויגון להשכיבנו לשלום, שלום, והסר שטן מלפנינו, לפנינו, לפנינו, מאחרינו, אחרינו, 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 ובצל כנפיך תסתירנו, 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 כי אל שומרנו, שומרנו, ומצילנו אתה, כי אל המלך חנון ורחום אתה, השכיבנו, השכיבנו לשלום, שלום, ושמור צאתנו ובואנו לחיים ושלום מעתה ועד עולם, ופרוס עלינו סוכת שלומך, ברוך אתה אדוני הפורץ סוכת שלום עלינו וכל עמו ישראל ועל ירושלים.
Shelter me in a leaf, shelter me in a stone. I envy them their sure peace. Shelter me, God, protect and conceal me, enclose me in your fences. Let's rise for Pishamru, page 46.
I'll do a different one. V'shameru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם ביני ובין בני ישראל אותי לעולם כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ וביום השביעי שבת וינפש יתגדל ויתקדש שמר רבה ועל מה דיברה קירותי וימליך מלכותי בחייכון וביום יכול ובחיי דכל בית ישראל בגלה ובזמן קריב וימרו אמן ישמר רבה מברך לעלם ולעלמי עלמיה יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמך תקודשה בריחו לעילה מכל ברכתה ושירתה תושבחתה ונחמתה תאמירן בעלמא וימהרו amen.
We'll continue with our private prayers, our Amidah, our silent offering offered in sweetness, page 47 through 52, or however your heart moves you.
עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ועל כל יושבי תבל, ואמרו אמרו אמן. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ועל כל יושבי תבל, ואמרו אמרו Shalom in Romav, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'al kol yoshvei tevel ve'imru amen.
We're waiting for that great peace to descend over everyone. But before it gets here, because we can't control that, humans are so good at war, we can still celebrate the good moments in life. Tonight is Simcha Shabbat, and we are celebrating those who have a December birthday, a December anniversary, or some other happy occasion that you are marking. And I want to give special kudos to all of our December babies. You were born when we're born, but right, you're the ones who are holding the space between this year and the next year, this moment of great darkness that's going to move ultimately into spring. So it's a really special time. So if you have a birthday in December, anniversary, or something else you're celebrating, come on up, please. That was awesome. And if there's any other incentive you need, if you come up after the services, there'll be cake as well. I mean, everything's better with cake, right? If you can eat gluten, I can't, but you know.
And should they be facing us or the congregation? People are choosing different ways.
For this first thing, a little bit of both, because you're going to sing. Yeah. Then we're going to give you the Birkat Kohanim, a special blessing.
Us and the congregation. And does what count that you were asking? Does Kislev count? Sure. the month of Kislev. This is the priestly blessing.
So I want to offer in English what we just sang in Hebrew and ask everyone in the congregation after each line to say, Ken Yehi Ratzon, or so may it be God's will, whichever one you want. we'll have it all mixed together. May God bless and protect you.
כן יהי רצון.
May God's countenance shine upon you, and may God bestow kindness upon you.
כן יהי רצון.
May God's countenance be lifted toward you, and may God grace you and grant you peace. Ken Yehi Ratzon. A very happy birthday, anniversary, whatever simcha you're celebrating. Life is hard sometimes, and that's why there's cake, and that's why there's celebration. We can't control, the one thing we can control is our reaction to how we respond to the world, and make sure that we carve out space to celebrate it. You know, when we're really little, we know that, and we celebrate every birthday like it is the greatest thing in the world, because it is. Because life is a blessing. And at some point, we stop taking our birthdays as seriously. Some of that's okay. We're maturing. Maybe we've outgrown some childish narcissism. But we shouldn't let go of the fact that life is a miracle, a blessing, and a short-lived gift. So let's enjoy every moment. Happy birthday, happy anniversary. And we're gonna conclude this unit of the service now with Shehechianu. Oh, I guess yes. So we're gonna sing the Shehechianu, this prayer, which is thanking God for getting us to this moment, right? Anything could have happened along the way, including making a wrong turn, and you end up in Vancouver and forget that on a Friday night traffic. But no, that God sustains us and allows us to get to this moment, and we experience a sense of gratitude that we want to express.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam שהחיינו וקיימנו והגיענו לזמן הזה שהחיינו וקיימנו והגיענו לזמן הזה
Celebrate you all a little bit later with some cake at the conclusion of service. At this point, Cantor's going to continue leading us in Kaddish Shalem, and you guys can find your seats again. Thank you, and Mazal Tov, congratulations.
יתגדל ויקדש שמר רבה, ועל מה דיברה קירותם ממליך מלכותה, וחייכון ובימיכון ובחיי דכל בית ישראל, בעגלה בזמן קריב מרו, אמן. יש מרבה מברך, לעלם ולעלמי עלמיה. יתברך וישתבח ויפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמי קדושה בריחו לעילא מן כל ברכתה ושירתה תושבחתה ונחמתה תמירן בעלמא ואמרו אמן. תתקבל שפת האור והטון לכל ישראל קודם אבהון ושמיא אמרו אמן. יהי שלמה רבה מן שמיה וחיים עלינו וכל ישראל אמרו אמן. עושה שלום ממרומיו הוא יעשה שלום עלינו וכל ישראל וכל יושבי תבל ואמרו amen.
We will rise for Kiddush. So during the Q&A and hang out with our Jesuit student friends, there's a question about what sort of sacraments we have. This is one of them in which we're blessing over the wine, but what we're really doing is sanctifying the day. You know, Shabbat, the day of rest, on the one hand, it occurs every 7 days, whether you've got a double shift or not. On the other hand, it's only a day of rest. It's only a day of spiritual recharging if we bring our attention to it. And this blessing is sort of reminding of us that we can make that shift. So, Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'atzavanu v'shabbat kodsho b'ahava u'ratzon hinchilanu zikaron lemahaseh v'reishit ki hu yom techila lemikra'e kodesh zecher letziat Mitzrayim ki banu v'acharta ואותנו קידשת מכל העמים בשבת קודשך באהבה וברצון הנחלתנו. ברוך אתה אדוני מקדש השבת.
אמן לחיים.
We remain standing. Aleinu 56.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל עמונם, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא, שעושה שמיים ושארץ. על כן לקחת אלוהינו. לפניך אדוני אלוהינו, יכולו. ככתוב בתורתך, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד, ונאמר, והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ. ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו אחד.
Please be seated as we prepare for the mourner's prayer, the Kaddish. I just want to call to mind those who passed in recent weeks, and our hearts are with the families of Chuck Sachs and Gary Weinstein. Additionally, I want to ask anyone who is here and reciting a Kaddish for a yard site or during a period of mourning, if you'd rise and just if you feel comfortable, mention the name of the person for whom you are reciting it. That'd be a great way to bring our community together. Well, it's always a poignant moment, so I hope that you can pull an image of your loved one in front of you so they'll be a little bit closer as we turn to the Kaddish on 58. Yitgadal v'yitgadash shemei rabba v'yalma divraku te v'yamlich malchute b'chayechon v'yamechon v'chayei d'chol beit Yisrael ba'agala v'zman kariv v'yamru Amen. Yehei shmei rabba mivarak le'olam lamei almaya yitbarak v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh v'yithadar v'yitalev v'yithalal shmei d'kudsha b'richu le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechamata damiran bi'alma v'yimru Amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya Chaim Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'yimru Amen. Oseh shalom b'romav, hu ya'aseh shalom Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'al kol Yoshvei Tevel v'yimru Amen. May the one who makes peace in the high places bring some peace to each of you, and you mourn and remember and honor our loved ones who aren't here with us anymore, but who continue to impact us and touch us in a myriad of ways. So let's see, we got a few announcements before we move on to Yigdal, a challah, and then cake, right? So we are gathering right now winter hats and gloves, anywhere from size 5 to adults, for Project Lemonade. And we're also gathering toilet paper for a neighborhood house. One of their representatives was just here the other day, and we were touching base with them. And for, of course, one of our annual rituals, which is not several thousand years old, we make a Hanukkah menorah, like these menorahs here, but with an extra branch, out of toilet paper during this season. But then we donate it all to neighborhood house and families in need. Hanukkah is coming, I know. We've got PJ Havdalah Hanukkah, latkes and vodka, youth teen parties, 20s to 30 party, our community celebration. Go to the website, check your emails, lots of stuff happening. Remember, if you eat a latke during Passover, it automatically comes with Lipitor built in the spiritual plane, but your doctor should recommend whether or not you can do that.
Not during Passover.
Not during Passover?
You said Passover.
Did I say Passover?
I think so.
I have this head cold, and I don't even know if I'm... You'll tell me later whether anything I said made sense or was correct today. Would not surprise me if it's not. This weekend, Saturday, 5:15, 7:30, we've got dinner and Havdalah for our 3rd through 5th graders. At 5:15, we have PJ Havdalah. Sunday, December 8th, if you want to help out with cooking for Outside In, the group will be meeting in the kitchen to prepare food for Outside In. And also at 1 p.m., Dignity Grows, there'll be a packing party for getting some materials together. If you're good with a needle and thread or a sewing machine, the Shroud Crowd periodically sews beautiful tachrichim, the burial shrouds for people who really want to engage in this very potent, powerful mitzvah at the very end of life at this moment of transition. Next week, Sisterhood's got a coffee and chat at the MJCC, Tuesday, December 10th, 11:30. And next Sunday at 2 o'clock, I'm really excited about this. We've got an interfaith panel here with an old friend of this congregation, Reverend Dr. Rodney Page, Imam Polavina, Reverend Cynthia, and I are going to be on an interfaith panel talking about war, peace, reconciliation in a difficult time for the world. It will also have opportunities to have questions submitted, and this all started from a music video that Reverend Rodney Page, Imam Polavina, and I created with Mike Reese a while ago, and we'll show that at the beginning as well. But boy, we all need a little bit of help, and it's really great to have partners who can imagine a different world. I hope you'll attend that as well. That said, we are going to turn now and conclude the service with the Yigdal on 62, and then Cantor will lead us in hand washing and breaking of bread.
יגדל אלוהים חי וישתבח, נמצא ונטל מציאותו, אחד ואין יחיד כייחודו, נעלם וגם אין סוף לאחדותו, אין לו דמות הגוף ואינו גוף, לא נערוך אליו קדושתו, קדמון לכל דבר אשר נברא, ראשון ואין ראשית לראשיתו, הינו אדון עולם וכל נוצר, יורה גדולתו ומלכותו, שפע נבואתו נתנו אל, אנשי סגולתו ותפארתו, לא קם בישראל כמשה עוד, נביא ומביט את תמונתו, תורת אמת נתן לעמואל, הרי הנביאו נאמן ביתו, לא יחליף האל ולא ימיר, דתו לעולמים לזולתו, צופה ויודע סתרנו, מביט לסוף דבר בקדמתו. כה מלא איש חסד כמפעלו, נותן לרשע רע כרישתו, ישלח לקץ ימין משיחנו, לפתור מחכה קץ ישועתו, מתים יחייל ברוב חסדו, ברוך הדיית שם תהילתו, מתים יחייל ברוב חסדו, ברוך הדיית שם תהילתו.
This cantor goes to do hand washing and motzi. I just want to thank everyone for coming tonight. A special thank you and welcome to our friends from Jesuit High School and cantor. Amen.
ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם מוציא לחם מן הארץ.
Amen. Shabbat shalom. Hey, Shabbat shalom. Shabbat, 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 Shabbat shalom. Shabbat shalom. Hey, Shabbat shalom. Hey, Shabbat, 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 Shabbat shalom. Shabbat, 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 Shabbat shalom. Shabbat, Shabbat. Shabbat, Shabbat, Shalom, Shabbat, Shalom, hey, Shabbat, Shalom, hey, Shabbat, 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 Shalom. Everyone is welcome to come up and have a piece of challah bread and Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat shalom. Feel better.
Oh man, Sudafed extended is great. I got
Oh, yeah?
today. You have to go to the pharmacy. You don't need a prescription, but it's always got behind the pharmacy.
Ah,
And
okay.
Jake Sheff, Dr. Sheff
Told you about
mentioned
that.
to me.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Yeah, these old people climbing two flights of stairs. They get a piece
Get the
of
piece
bread.
of bread. I could bring it down.
I'm teasing you.
Cantor, I have a question.
What's that?
He's a young guy, he's only.
Oh, yes.
I have a question, Cantor.
Yeah.
I don't have anything for you.
Yeah.
Would a yarmulke in Canada have the little ball on it? Would it be called a toque yarmulke?
That's very cute. That's very good. I like that.
Just a thought.
Great, great.
Ah, thank you so much.
Unbelievable.
It's very nice.
Just
I
brings
appreciate
tear
it.
to my eyes.
Thank you very much.
It's very talented.
Thank you. I have it.
You canceled your January concert.
It's. Yeah. I didn't want to, and I felt like I should. It's not. It wasn't ready, and the rabbi has a program that day. My event was not an MLK-centered event, and it was probably going to be that people would expect it to be that. So to pivot, I could do it, but I don't want to.
We changed our concert schedule a day off. It's not a big deal. We're just going to be in the balconies.
Okay. I feel badly. But yeah, it just to pivot would be doable, but not great. I want to organize it properly. So that's it. I'm glad Lisa called you about that, though. Yeah. Shabbat shalom. Thanks for coming, guys.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
it. Is it good? My mother used to love it. She's still alive. I don't live there anymore. It's Montreal. She loved having peanut butter on it.